I know where all them Laker haters at. We finna get to talk about. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Trey. First formation. Let's go.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward!
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward!
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward!
Hard work, hard work, hard work.
Fall in. Hey, what's good, everyone? What's good? What's going on? It's your boy Trey, as we just talked about. You know what it is. First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So come on and fall in with your favorite vets to the net as we get to talking about what went down over the last 24, 48, 84. It doesn't make a dick. 76. Whatever going on, how it going, the past, the present, the future. So y'all know how it went down yesterday. 2 NBA games. You got a little movement and stuff in the NFL as there's still deals still being made, all kind of stuff going on. But first and foremost, you know what? I want to try to contain myself. I'm not going to let any of y'all rope me or wrangle me into a rant or sit up and speak highly just to set myself up and you all to set me up for the okie doke later on. So we will stay with what is factual for the most point this morning in the time in which I'm going to be rocking with y'all. Got to get to work, got to get some things accomplished. But for the most part, I had to do a conditioning, and Lonzo, man. I had to sit up and go. My hair is messed up, so we gonna get to it. It's all right, Lonzo, bro. So check this out, right? I'm not gonna even start. We gonna take it to Miami for the most part. Get to talking and get into these like I said, we're going to Miami, but that wasn't why we're going to Miami. We're going there because that's where the game was played. As we all know, if you pay attention to the news, Jimmy Butler had a lot to say, guaranteeing the win and everything, saying they was going to get the dub. Trae Young and company felt differently about the situation. For the most part, you take in consideration that rebounds is a huge part of the game, in which evidently Miami left that notion back in the locker room, back at the crib. I don't know what's going on. Yesterday, Miami out rebounded by 20 rebounds, a 20 rebound disparity. Miami's total rebounds last night, 61 total rebounds in 48 minutes of play. Correction, not Miami. Atlanta's rebound, 61 rebounds in 20 minutes of play. I think Miami had 49, maybe not even that, 39 or something like that. In any case, it wasn't working out for them at the end state. It seems like only person who was really getting in for the most part for the Heat was actually Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Jimmy Butler. Kyle Lowry yesterday, 31 points. Sorry, my ankle's killing me. Kyle Lowry yesterday, 33 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists on the night. In which if you don't know and don't realize, none of the stats nor the wins in the play-in count. It's just basically empty stats, empty. It's just all empty. The only thing it counts for is determining who is going to be the 7th and 8th seed at entertainment. It's interesting because that money count, it ain't like it's a free game. That's odd, but I digress. Tyler Hero, 26 points, 6 rebounds on the night as well. Jimmy Butler, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists on the night, 2 steals and a block to go along with that. Who else we had? Bam Adebayo, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks on the night. Gabe Vincent, 6 points. What's up, Haley? What's going on, brother? I haven't seen you a second. Glad to have you back in formation. James to go. We'll talk about that. We'll get to that in a second, brother. We're going to definitely get into that. Kevin Love, 2 points on the night. 6 points from Gabe Vincent. 3 from Max Strus. And that's basically where it leads in at. Cody Zeller with 2 points. 9-man rotation for the Heat for the Philadelphia last night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10-man rotation. I'm sorry. 10-man rotation for the Heat last night. But on the other side of the spectrum, clicking on all cylinders, led by Trae Young's 25 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists on the night, 17 points, 6 rebounds for Sadiq Bey, who is a huge pickup. I think everyone talks about how DeJounte Murray and Trae Young was going to be ideal for the team. I think that mid-season trade and picking up Sadiq Bey is working wonders for the Hawks, or it's going to be one of those. Is going to be a situation where it's going to be very, very, very beneficial as they continue to play, get full seasons behind them. Sadiq Bey continues to grow. I think that trade bringing Sadiq Bey from Detroit to Atlanta is probably puts it in a position where Atlanta definitely won that trade. Last night, Clint Capella, 4 points, 21 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks on the night, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists for DeAndre Hunter. John Collins contributed with 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists on the night. Anika Ngwaku, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks, helping out the defense on the defensive end of the boards and offensive end. 10 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists for Jalen Johnson. It was just an all-out. And Bogdan Bogdanovic, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, as the Atlanta Hawks take care of business, winning 116-105 and sending the Miami Heat to the 8 and 9, the 8 seed game to be played on Friday. Of course, we know tonight's games, the Chicago Bulls and the Toronto Raptors look to face off in that 9-8, the 9-10 spot. Of course, the loser goes home. The winner goes on to play for an opportunity to get into the playoffs to play against the number 1 seed, in this case, that being the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, on the other side of the spectrum, with last night's win, Atlanta punches their ticket for the 7th seed, going to play against the Boston Celtics. It's funny how the tables turn. We were talking about just a year ago, same time, same back channel, the Miami Heat were the number 1 seed team last year in the Eastern Conference, and they played the Atlanta Hawks had to play to get into the play-in to face the Miami Heat, in which ultimately the Miami Heat was dispatched the Atlanta Hawks on a agenda 5-1, 4-1 to send them on their way. Here it is, 365 days later almost, and the Atlanta Hawks sends the Miami Heat to what potentially can be their 2023 season funeral. It remains to be seen. We will see. Randall says Hawks have everything they need to beat the Celtics. So, do you think is that your hot take for the morning, Randall? That the Hawks will beat the Celtics, or specifically that they have what it takes to beat the Celtics, but the Celtics still have the edge for the most part. Of course, any team for the most part has that, but I do agree. Last night, what the Atlanta Hawks showed is that they're very capable of giving problems to a second seed team if everyone is clicking on all cylinders. Opposite side of the spectrum, you have Jimmy Butler doing his post conference interviews, discussing and talking about how basically they have to do everything completely opposite from what they did last night. You had a Tyler Hero hitting the left side of the basket of the boards on 3-point attempts. Easy baskets for Atlanta. It just didn't seem like the the Heat were locked in on what they was doing. It just the simplest of things, simplest of forms was just that. And it's like, now what are they going to do? Now they're faced in a do or die situation. So it's just a matter of time before we see. I mean, Friday actually, before we see, and we get to see who they're up against. Like, what would be the best outcome for them? Would they be better to face the Chicago Bulls team or a Toronto Raptors team? We all know Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Precious Achiuwa, how they tend to get Scotty Barnes, how they tend to get at times. And they could be a hot team in hot spurts. Nick Nurse, an NBA champion coach, to coach them up and have them in position, even with the less of what they have, to be perfection, to be possible. But on the other side of the spectrum, you have the Chicago Bulls that basically could put up numbers. Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and then you have Yaya Damansu, Alex Caruso, Kobe White, Patrick Williams. Like, it's a whole lot of something going on in Chicago, potentially, to where it could be it could read doom for the Miami Heat, especially if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And last night was clearly a example of what you're not supposed to do look like. Okay, Haley, hot take: Lakers in 4. Lakers over Memphis, a sweep. I don't know about that. I don't think Memphis is that inexperienced and not that locked in to where they get 4. But we're finna get to that in momentarily, of course. Like I said, tonight, Toronto and Chicago facing up, getting the opportunity to put their skills on display as we get a chance to see what it looks like when a team is back against the wall. And basically, you're looking at being sent home, vacation time, whether it's much needed or whatever's going on, going home for the most part. In the other game, of course, my game that I adore seeing. So, interesting enough, Shaquille O'Neal made a quote. I think even Lonzo made a quote. It was somebody I know. It was even Lonzo or Anthony Price made a quote saying that they had the Lakers winning by 12. I think Shaq made a quote with him having the Lakers winning by 30, was it? Or 15, somewhere in between. In any case, it was a conversation or in the time where it was conversations about Lakers by 12 to 30 points or something like that. Because, of course, we know that Rudy Gobert was not present due to the scuffle he had. A one-game suspension was set forth and he wasn't available. Jaden McDaniels wasn't available because he broke his hand in the last game of the season in the second quarter. Naz Reid was not available because he broke his hand earlier in the season. So they didn't have 3 key players for the most part in their arsenal to be able to shoot out. So now what you have is a situation to where the Lakers, that's why the picture was being painted like, yo, the Lakers are going to basically run through these cats for the most part, and they shouldn't have any troubles, any problems taking care of business. What we thought was going to happen really didn't happen. Of course, we look at Anthony Edwards, had a dismal game for the most part, but on when you look and match that up, so did D'Angelo Russell for the most part. He had a dismal game as well. Haley said the Wolves are better without Rudy. The Lakers would have picked and rolled him to death. Coach Wayne, what's good, Coach Wayne? How you doing, brother? I hope everything's going on. But glad to have your information in case. Go Hatchamere from the 3. Donovan said Minnesota lost a game with 3 players out. D'Lo forgot he had a game last night. I don't know. So I think we got to take in consideration what, because we got some stuff to talk about in reference to the mental aspect of the game. Like when I was doing a short stint in coaching and had a minor league basketball team, that's what I used to sit up and always preach to the players. The mental is where it is. Everyone can put the ball in the hoop on the court for the most part. That's why you're here, because you have the ability to put the ball in the hole. However, It's the mental aspect of it in which you have to overcome. And it seems to be a lot of mental situations going on in the NBA now, which I guess we have always thought about. Of course, being first service members, we always talk and get into the resiliency talk and all that type of stuff. And that seems to be the thing, but some people lack resiliency. That's just what it is. It's not it's unfortunate. It's not a bad thing, so to speak. It's just you have to have certain skills and certain attributes to be a player at every level. And of course, in the most highest of the levels, in the professional aspect, resiliency is a key tool to have in your tool bag. And so that lack of resiliency for some players is starting to be unraveling. But we will talk about that in a second. But I think when it first came up in reference is D'Lo last night. D'Angelo Russell, I think Memphis is going to get this swept. So, in any case, for the most part, the D'Angelo Russell didn't show up last night. And maybe it could have been the mental aspect of him playing against his former team, in which he wanted to make sure that the team was taken care of and sent on their way, not be abandoning his side and send him on his way where they are in the dire straits and dire needs of a win. So in any case, it didn't happen. But let's get into these scores real quick before we go a little further. Last night, as we know, a lot going on from the beginning to the end of the game. Lakers down at one point by 15 points. Late in the third, I believe it was, down 80-65 as the clock was ticking. The clock in the class of John next. So the Timberwolves led by 24 points from Kyle Anthony Towns, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks on the night. But what was his undoing, of course, was the fact that he had to sit down with 5 fouls in the second half. 4 fouls in the second half. Then he gets into the game in there for about 3 minutes. It was assessed the 5th foul. Battled with AD down low. That sent him to the pitch. Wasn't the best at anything. Mike Conley, however, 23 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block on the night. Just 3 turnovers. Of course, some of the most polarizing moment was in the waning moments after Dennis Schroeder hits that go-ahead 3-pointer and from the corner, leaving 1.4 seconds on the clock. Anthony Davis goes down, a run out to contest a 3-pointer by Mike Conley Jr. Of course, Mike Conley Jr. really looked like he had no intentions on attempting to knock down a shot. He was only trying to get the shot all up and out. AD closes out, turns the box out, bumps Mike Conley Jr. A foul is called, 3 shots at the line, in which Mike Conley almost missed on the front end one. He barely gets at it, gets the bounce, goes in, and then, of course, he knocks down the next 2 with 1.1 seconds on the clock, sends the game into overtime, in which then we look at that like, Houston, we may have a problem. Additionally, Teron Prince, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 steals on the night, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 13 assists from Kyle Anderson, 4 steals, 4 blocks. He had a stat stuff at night, but he can take that stat stuff at night on into the 8 game. Jalen Noel, 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Jordan McLaughlin, he didn't really log anything, 1 steal on the night. Anthony Edwards, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, but 4 turnovers for the young bull. Anthony Edwards, I guess you could say, had the similar type of night in which D'Angelo Russell had. Not a lot going on for him. Wasn't really contributing to anything. I'm very sure he's going to snap out of that, and which is probably going to be detrimental for whomever the next team in which they play, to where he's really not going to have another one of those nights, and it's going to be a fight for them to get to that A seed. Lastly, Nickeil Alexander-Walker doing a little damage, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists on the night, 1 steal, as he was proficient last night in assisting in this team, but of course it all to no avail. When you look at it, pushing the limit. Hold on one second. Let me see something. Okay, so of course, last night, LeBron James, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks with 5 turnovers, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks from Anthony Davis, 5 turnovers on the night, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal from Dennis Schroeder, including that go-ahead three-pointer. That would have been the game winner had not had not Anthony Davis not got the foul. Rui Hachimura, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, doing damage from the 3-point line, 2 of 5 for the big man, doing what he needed to do, getting some key minutes. Austin Reed, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists on the night. Jared Vanderbilt, 3 points, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. Who else did we have last night? Tony Brown, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals last night. Wayne Gabriel, quick minutes, not really quick out of there. Michael Beasley, 5 points, 1 rebounds, 1 assist. For the most part, when you look at it, none of the Minnesota players were that potent against, you can say. They did, because in my opinion, what really helped is Malik Beasley coming in. I think he would put the clamps on Anthony Edwards. I think he was key in stopping Anthony Edwards. You see different times in which he had them cut off, like he knew what he was about to do and where he was going with the ball. That team had posed a problem for Minnesota. But again, when you look at it, yeah, LeBron did 5 turnovers. That's pretty high. But hopefully he cleans that up. And it was some stupid ones at that. But of course, the key one is the high over the basket pass. I mean, not over the basket, I guess you would say over the rim. It got to AD on the other side and that stuff. But it's definitely one of those situations to where you got to really take a look at it. Like, what would have been had Minnesota had Rudy Gobert, McDaniels, Naz Reid? What could have been the outcome? Will we be talking about the Lakers playing in the AC game with an opportunity to play against the Denver Nuggets? I think we would potentially, if that would have did it. Or would it have been like, I see Randy Haley was like, they would have pick and roll Rudy Gobert to death, bringing them up, bringing them high, and just working the bottom or leave the back door open. But I don't know. What would the outcome have been potentially? Where would we be speaking about right now? Because what was expected is Anthony Price says the Lakers really lost that game, in which I would not disagree with a lot of y'all. Donovan was thinking on the same thing and speaking about that, that it wasn't necessarily the Lakers beat anyone. It was the Lakers were just fortunate to get the miscues of the Minnesota Timberwolves in state and was able to capitalize on it. And almost didn't capitalize on it, because even in the last waning minutes of the game, Teron Prince had an open 3-pointer to where if he would have knocked that down, he would have sent the game into yet another overtime, to where we don't know what would have been the outcome of that. Taking consideration the 50-50 ball that LeBron tried to get against Teron Prince, drew a foul. That gave him his 5th foul. So in course, I think you see one of the transition game plays, LeBron couldn't get back and couldn't contest because he already had 5 fouls and he wanted to be in the game. Of course, he made some key shots down the stretch, tying the game up with the 3-pointer, getting a little mid-range, and be able to push the Lakers ahead. So he was very instrumental in the game. I guess when you test for the 30 points, but it was just certain things in which we seen that we was like, it definitely got to get cleaned up as you get ready to get in into the bed with a Memphis Grizzlies team for the second year in a row, second in the West, going into the playoffs. to where we got to see what it will be outcome. Like I know a lot feel that the Lakers are could really benefit from this, being that the Grizzlies are young, but is that going to really be something in which the Lakers could benefit off of? Especially if they're like one person said, who was it? The Atlanta Hawks GMs. Oh no, it wasn't Atlanta Hawks GM. It was a GM from the Dallas Mavericks that said they are consistently inconsistent. I think that could be the same said for the Lakers in a bit. But I mean, we'll see. It'll all come out, and we'll see how it goes. Of course, I'm all for it, just to celebrate the small victories. The Lakers get the dub, winning 108 to 102. Looking so good they can play terrible half the team not show up and still win. I like to think that, Haley, but I don't think that's the case, bro. It really, like everyone's saying, the Wolves really messed that up for themselves. Maybe I know everyone said they disagree with the team removing Rudy, but he'll be available for the next game. They're still going to be without Reed. They're still going to be without Daniels. And then, of course, like Anthony saying, Anthony Edwards wasn't hidden. He was off. I doubt we see that again. We might see Minnesota get into the game, get into it with Denver and get handily. Denver might be one of those teams. Yet again. Well, they wasn't on the front end of that. Denver might be that team again. Be on the opposite end of a 1 seed losing to an 8 seed in the first round, like they did years ago when they had Dikembe Mutombo. Memphis and LA going 6 or 7. Who are you taking in that series, Donovan? LA or Memphis? So of course tonight, I like the Pelicans to get the AC. Tonight, and which we're just about to get in. You're on time, just in time, Haley. So of course tonight on the Western front, the Oklahoma City Thunder will be tapping in with the New Orleans Pelicans just up the road from Fort Polk, soon to be Fort Johnson, as the Pelicans host the Oklahoma City Thunder. But still no Zion Williamson. As, of course, Zion, as we get to talking a little more conversation in reference to the mental aspect of the game and what Zion's outtake of that is, Zion Williamson currently says he is physically ready. However, he said he does not plan to play the game until he feels like Zion, his regular self. So hearing that as a Pelicans fan or just a basketball game lover, what does that mean exactly? I tell you what Zion's perception of what he says is he needs to be himself. Basically, he's stating that after not playing all of last season and coming back in, he noticed in certain spurts that he was feeling a bit hesitant in making certain moves and doing certain things. So now Zion has currently been out since January, and he says that he does not think it is ideal for him to be in the game playing along his brothers on that court in a time to where it's a do or die situation, to where one game can send you home. He doesn't need to be in place to where he doesn't feel like himself and feel like he's second guessing shots and not being to be an aggressor. So he feels like he shouldn't be in the game. He's like, it sucks. It's very unfortunate, but he needs to basically be himself, and that is be in the proper mindset going forth. So definitely will not probably see Zion for the play-in. So if they, like Haley said, he likes Pelicans to take that AC. If the Pelicans get the AC without Zion Williamson, and of course also Jose Alvarado, who is currently out with a tibia stress fracture. I mean, with the tibia aggravation. If they can get there without, then they may get Zion in the first round versus the new Denver Nuggets. If they can't, then it'll either end tonight or Friday night, and we'll be waiting to see Zion next season. So of course, everyone going in is Zion back yet, or is he Bishop at the buffet? So Anthony Price says the trainer saying he's good, but Zion's still out. Yeah, sounds like. So it's the mental health is real, and it's hella real, and it can really be impactful to somebody, stopping performance from happening, certain things. I mean, even for myself, of course, I have PTSD, but it's even, saying certain things, saying I tend to deal with things myself. I'm very extremely resilient, but it'll be some things in which I deal with for myself, so I can understand when you look at it, because he's looking at it, in which I first, when I was going over it and seeing it, I was like, come on, Zion, bro. But then I started thinking, I started like listening more past what he was saying and listening. And I started, I guess you could say, hearing what he was saying. I started listening, hearing what he was saying, as opposed to listening to what he was saying. And he's basically saying that he feels like that at this point, he cannot be, he won't be the most beneficial in what could be a 1-game series going forth, in which his team is relying on him to be the Zion Williamson, in which everyone has seized, the dude averaging 27 points, 10 rebounds a game, to someone that is hesitant to put a shot up because he's wondering if he's going to tweak a hamstring, if he's going to step on a foot, and those things. In which now, when you say that, that could be real in that aspect. A little bit different in a 7-game series, because you have a couple of games to kind of get yourself right and mentally, but I mean, and overcome that. But so maybe he is best that he sits down. Of course, no one wants to hear that, and when you take in consideration what the Pelicans are with Zion Williamson and what they are without him, and evidently, when he was playing, they were a top 4 team in the Western Conference. He hasn't played, and slowly but surely they slipped down to the 9th seed in the Western Conference, looking at potentially being eliminated in the next 2 games or so. So step by step, one step at a time. They're up tonight, 8:30 Central Standard Time. The last game of the day for Oklahoma. Well, with Oklahoma, potentially. Once someone's got to go home, it's going to either be OKC or New Orleans. And then, of course, after that, to sit up and get on the plane, chartered to Minnesota to be able to play against the Timberwolves on their home court. And then just to finish that night up and go from Minnesota to most likely pull up in Denver, get rest, get acclimated, and get ready for the first round of playoffs. First of 2 games in the playoffs for versus the Denver Nuggets. So that's taxing and wearing as well. That's a lot of traveling, especially going to Denver, the high altitudes potentially. So there's a lot going on, a whole lot going on, in which we'll see that first and foremost. Additionally, where's Coach Cal at? Coach Cal is not in the section yet. So the Dallas Mavericks are very high on the potential and the possibility of keeping Kyrie Irving in the fray. Currently, Kyrie Irving could potentially, because the Dallas Mavericks own Kyrie's bird rights, he can sign with the Dallas Mavericks for 5 years, $272 million. On the opposite side of the spectrum, if he decides to not sign with the Dallas Mavericks, he can potentially still get a 4-year, $202 million deal from any other team. So, looking at that, just hearing that, what would you do if you were Kyrie Irving? Are you staying in Dallas with the opportunity to potentially build something with Luka Doncic, Jason Kidd, and Mark Cuban at 5 years, $272 million? Or are you looking to once again, for the 5th time in your career, take your talents on the road with the opportunity of signing for $70 million less? At this point, Kyrie Irving has been with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, and now the Dallas Mavericks, with the opportunity to leave yet again and be yet again in another organization going forth? Or do you think he just puts his roots down, like, you know what, I'm staying in Dallas? Some things in which Kyrie Irving was quoted in saying that he feels wanted in Dallas. He feels like, and he's like, that's huge for him to feel like you're wanted. But of course, it's not the same song all around the world, same song. Is that not the same song in which we have heard from Kyrie Irving before? And what he has talked and engaged and said, like, being somewhere, this is where he feels like he be. And then a year or two later, we get Kyrie's not at practice. He's not showing up to certain events. And then next you know, we get Kyrie wants to be traded. What do you see as an outcome? Does Kyrie Irving go ahead and sign? I know Luka Doncic, who is at the beginning of his $215 million contract extension, said he wants to be in Dallas. He said he's at his home where he wants to be. But let's keep it real. They had Kyrie Irving for 25 games. The 25 games in which Kyrie Irving was in Dallas, Dallas went, what was it, 7-15, 18. Excuse me. 7. Oh yeah, 7. So what is that? Out of them games, him and Luka Doncic played, and basically went 7-1, 11, or something like that. No, it was worse than that. I know it was a single digit, definitely. So it's like in all that, they wasn't meshing. What can Dallas do to be more proficient and build that to where I can sit up and say, "Hey, Kyrie, this is what we're going to do. We're going to surround you and Luka with more talent." Or can they? Do they have the capital now after the trade? Like, how's that all going to pan out? How do they rectify and get put in position to where Kyrie is looking like, okay, I want to be here? Is it like Coach Cal says now they find another coach, or is Jason Kidd the coach to coach that tandem? What's going on, Leon? What's going on, brother? What's going on? Kyrie is a con artist, a shyster, playing hard to get past the last match contract. He doesn't care about winning. He quits every team and teammates a bum. He's not a leader. So, Leon, you know what, bruh? That first part, fam, the first part, playing hard to get possible contracts. He did play hard in those games, in the 20 games in which he was on the court for the Mavericks. He averaged 27 points. So 20 games, 20 out of 25 games, 27-point average. You put the numbers up. When you look at where he's been, he has always been the player, except for, of course, in not Sacramento, except for being in Cleveland, to where, of course, he was LeBron's running mate. But everywhere else he's been, of course, he was KD's running mate in Brooklyn. But everyone, for the most part, and now he's Luka Doncic's running mate in Dallas. So as opposed to, except for in Boston, he has been that dude. Although I think he was supposed to be Gordon Hayward's running mate in Boston. So I can see. I wouldn't go as far as to call him a bum. Maybe not a leader, but he leads in a different way. He doesn't lead perfectly. It might not look like he's a leader to the aspect of for us, and then I'm saying looking at what he does for his players, for the players in the NBA and team players on his team. But he does have some qualities to where he's a voice and he has a platform, and he tends to just do things differently. But I can see it definitely where you're going with the where he does things to get to earn what he needs to earn as far as getting paid. and then it starts to be contentious later on down the line. Now that is true. He has become contentious later on down the line at those places when he does, and that's at some point you take in consideration. Got to realize, is it me or is it you? And that's what we come to. Anthony Price said they need to get a defensive player. That's what would solve the problems in Dallas. He says Leon rebuttals Anthony scoring is individual, winning this team. He's a quitter. Leon, tell him how you feel, fam. You really blame Kyrie 100%. He's playing and scoring. The team, but the team just bad. I won't say the team is bad. I think it was a bad chemistry initially. So I think they're able to recover and get that done. Hold on. So yes, I'm sorry, so sorry. Of course, response of course, Anthony to Leon, true, but it's Kyrie and Luka scoring over 30 points and you still don't win. Is it Kyrie fault or the team or the coach? So I think is it fair and which we always say with the conversation that's been lately and talking to a coach with Coach Calzone, he's discussing it. Is it Luka and Kyrie's inability to be defensive, have a defensive presence, or is it the team lacking to put people around them? Which of course, Anthony just said, "Hey, get a defensive player who's more of a because again, everyone can score to a degree." So it's like, do we put a more defensive present minded players around them with the hopes that that's going to be something to where we just allow I think it's a whole perspective. Like, yes, it does well to have two players that can give you 30 a night, but 60, I ain't see the game to where 60 points wins that game. You got to either one be able to stop those other players, or two have players that's going to come along with you. 10 points from another 5, because most rotations is about anywhere from 7 to 8 to 10-man rotation. So we need those other 8 players. We need the other 8 players to be able to come on and give something to a degree. So I mean, you got to basically make that happen, and which that could be it. But going back to the whole thing, Kyrie, do you think Kyrie re-signs with Dallas, or do you think he's going to go ahead and go somewhere else? And if he's going somewhere else, where else do you think he'll go? Where's the ideal place for Kyrie Irving to go to even finish out the rest of his career, or at least this the 4 years on the max on the backs of $202 million a year? Like, where is that at? We know it's not going to be the Lakers. I don't think the Lakers will go after him in any form or fashion, because they're going to try to most likely build upon what they have. And maybe, I foresee maybe a couple people getting the axe, depending upon where they finish, right? Of course, we hear talks. Austin Reeves has turned himself into a starter in this league. But does Austin Reeves go anywhere else to start? When I think about it, I don't know if Austin Reeves can basically go anywhere else and start. But he's a starter in LA currently. but they have to be able to pay him. In which the expectations is they're probably not going to be able to play him. Dennis Schroeder this time around might make a little more money than what we heard, or he's going to make a less. So we heard he was supposed to get $80 million for 4 years, and he turned that down, chasing more. He didn't get it. He came back on a prove it deal after being axed from Utah Jazz, and now he's proven some worth. But of course, he's probably not going to get the same type of deal because he's not at this point. He's not the third option. That's D'Angelo Russell, and even maybe Austin Reeves. So that you still have. And along, I haven't taken a look and see who else is there, but you got those situations. So where can Kyrie Irving end up in state in which he's going to be a potent factor? And he's going to be probably a problem as well as that. Anywhere he goes, he's probably going to be a problem. No, he's not. Yeah, you're so right, Donovan. That part too. The Lakers aren't giving him $202 million. Not with what they have already. They don't have the money to do that. It's no way possible they can do that. So we know LA is out. Brooklyn is out. I'm sure Boston is out. I don't see him going back to any of the teams in which he's been with already. So that only leaves 25 other teams. Is it a possibility that he links up with Dame in Portland? Is that a problem? Would that even be something to go after? Dame and Kyrie? Putting him in instead of giving him a big man, putting him with another backcourt running mate. That's a small money market that can use that type of injection. Where else? I'm looking down up and down the coast. Sacramento, I don't think it would work. No need for him. Denver? Can he go to OKC? Team up with Shea in the crew. Going back to the East Coast is nowhere. I don't think. Philly, Washington. I'm very sure that's going to happen. At this point, we just we're throwing darts at the wall. But it's going down tonight. Like I said, it's going to have the those two games in which we'll get a little more of a picture. By the end of the week, we'll know for a fact who is playing what. We'll be in full swing of the NBA NBA championship going forth. And we can see how's it all going to pan out, of course. Let me make sure I ain't got no more other things pertinent to talk about in the West. In the NBA, and we can move on to some NFL conversating. Oh. If Kyrie wants to be the number one, still go to Houston. You know what? I even think about Houston. But so going to Houston, Anthony, you already got Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green, in which I think Kevin Porter Jr. isn't too far off from being like a Kyrie Irving at this point, at this juncture. So putting them three, I don't know. He might not be bad in Houston. That's a good point. I don't think Houston has the capital to sit up and bring him in, but he might not be bad in Houston, especially when Houston's going to be a lottery team at that. So as opposed to getting if they can get their hands on something like a Kyrie Irving, as opposed to going after Kyrie, bringing another a potential wing, the best wing that's out there to do damage. Don't want to come too guard eccentric. It might not be a bad choice. It might not be a bad thing. I can see Kyrie in Houston, the culture and everything like that. I can see him there. I'm very sure that he'll be welcome with open arms. So that could be a possibility. I wouldn't be too far off. But I don't think Houston has that money to pay him either. $202 million. We have another situation to where a player from yesteryear has moved on into a lower tier league with the hopes of utilizing the damage he's going to do there to make a way back to the NBA. Of course, DeMarcus Cousins, formerly of the Denver Nuggets, has signed to play with the Ganabo Mets of the Puerto Rican Professional Basketball League. DeMarcus is going to 32 now. Of course, we know if he's had stops in Sacramento, New Orleans, LA, Golden State, Denver. Now he's in Puerto Rico. Maybe I thought he was going to I thought just the John Wall out there. I actually really thought that what's going on, MEB? How you doing, sir? Glad to see you information with us this morning. I look forward to hearing from you, seeing y'all on Friday. So I really actually thought that they were going to the Lakers was going to bring him in. Of course, he went and had his play. He never got an opportunity to play with the Lakers in his time there on 2 stints, being injured the first time and then brought. So I thought it was going to finally get the opportunity to see him get some playing time with LA. I thought he was going to be the choice they was going to make to bring in. We see ultimately they end up going with Tristan Thompson in state, which was surprising, but Tristan got a chance on the roster. So he sits there instead of DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins goes ahead and signs the deal to play in the Puerto Rican League. And that's where it is with Don saying. I don't even think they got the money for that, Donovan. I don't think they got the money for that. Because they still it would have to be a sign and trade because CP3 is on get a pretty penny by the Phoenix Suns. So it would have to be a sign and trade along with some other assets to free up the money to even get Kyrie in there. So but I mean, stranger things have happened. And then I think it depends on what it was like, what really was the chemistry between Kyrie and KD. Like, do they really mess with each other like that? Or what is that? Or was it just more so it's like, nah, you're not gonna leave me here and Kyrie go. Like, we both need, if he's going, I need to go too. To where it's like you're not gonna leave me with the lackluster talent going forth. But in any case, KD's in at the 4 seed. The team he left, the Brooklyn Nets, are in as a 6 seed. Not too much. Both of them got into the playoffs. Now we're going to see who goes further. Of course, Phoenix seemingly has more talent than Brooklyn, but Brooklyn's definitely holding on. They're building on something. Ideally, like we said, what we see happen with Utah for the majority of the year until it didn't happen anymore. Without a superstar, has been work. It works wonders sometimes. It's just, I think right now, Mikal Bridges and company are enough to get them over the hump to where they can be competitive in the playoffs. Does Brooklyn get a second round entry to where to show that okay, they at this point they're Cinderella in the big leagues, or does it all end and they're going to basically go on and start like we say as they would do on NBA playoffs, rev up that engine and send another team home, as we're about to see shortly tonight. We're going to see a gone fishing set, I'm sure, from the TNT NBA crew. So we're going to see. We're going to see. But but I just don't see that happening based on the fact of I don't know how close Kyrie and Kevin really were. I'm very sure if they even thought about that, they will confer with Kevin and see what his thoughts are. And then you basically look at the fact of like, okay, you're about to send a future Hall of Famer packing for something bright and shinier, and is that necessarily what you need to do? So I'm not sure that's not what they're going to do, or even that would be a smart move to make. Last night, of course, getting into a little MLB, Major League Baseball, so you don't think we're not all basketball. We tend to dabble in other sports as well, or run through some of these. Goodness gracious, hold on. Run through some of these other sports as well. Last night, the Los Angeles Dodgers were defeated by the San Francisco Giants by the score of 0-5, a clean sweep, a goose egg. The New York Yankees took care of business over the Cleveland Guardians by a score of 11-2. The Oakland A's beat up on by the Baltimore Orioles by the score of 12-8. The Houston Astros not looking to championship dismantled by the Pirates by the score of 7-4. The Boston Red Sox and Tampa Bay Rays lock up, in which the Rays are victorious 7-2. The Florida Marlins and Philadelphia Phillies have a game. Marlins get the dub 8-4. The Toronto Blue Jays and Detroit Tigers get it in as well. The Tigers are defeated by a score of 9-3. The San Diego Padres and New York Mets are 4-2 for the Padres. Atlanta Braves, ATL stand up, A-Town Shorty, lock up with the Cincinnati Reds, in which the Cincinnati Reds just miss a victory, losing 7-6 in the ninth. The Minnesota Twins and Chicago White Sox face off 4-3. White Sox lose. Chicago Cubs and the Seattle Mariners. Chicago was in their bag last night, getting the dub, 7 points over the mark, 14-9 in state, 6 points. I'm sorry. Kansas City Royals and the Texas Rangers. Royals are defeated. Texas Rangers win the game 8-5. The St. Louis Cardinals and Colorado Rockies get it in. Colorado walks away with the L by the score of 9-6. The Los Angeles Angels and the Washington Nationals go at it. The Angels, the second game of the night, with a goose egg, unfortunately, but in this case, it was the other Los Angeles team that gets the dub in this case. Angels get the W 2-0. And last but not least, the Milwaukee Brewers and Arizona Diamondbacks face off, in which the Diamondbacks lose by 6 points by the score of 7-1. Of course, going forward Wednesday nights, the lock-in, the Dodgers and Giants will face off again for an opportunity for the Dodgers to keep above 500 with the win. Astros and Pirates, of course, White Sox take on the Minnesota Twins. The Yankees and Guardians continue to face off. The Padres and the Mets get it in. Mariners and Cubs continue to fight. Cardinals and Rockies. Brewers and Diamondbacks. Marlins and Phillies. The Nationals and the Angels. Athletics and Orioles. Tigers and Blue Jays. Rangers and Royals. Reds and Braves. All doing having games. Currently, the Milwaukee Brewers, I think, sit at the top of the MLB in general, 8-3 at this point in the season. Something in which I usually would be cheering. Correction, the Tampa Bay Rays sit at the top with a 11-0 start. Clicking on all cylinders, Tampa Bay has been building a pedigree of late. So now they're looking like it's our time. Do we have any late bloomers? Like I said, the Milwaukee Brewers 8-3, just 3 games behind the Tampa Bay for the top record. But hopefully the Dodgers will get it in and they'll tap in. We'll be able to see them in rare form. Moving into the NFL. So, of course, we had a conversation yesterday in reference to Odell Beckham. He's moved on and he's currently he's playing in Baltimore. As we asked the question, will that be enough to get Lamar Jackson to play on that franchise tag? Additionally, just yesterday, the Lions traded former number 3 pick Aduka, the cornerback sensation Jeff Aduka, to the Atlanta Falcons. So what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing is slowly but surely the Atlanta Falcons are starting to build on a program. They're putting together a defense in a sense. They got a lot of corners that can do damage, could be effective. And then the Lions are just giving up assets. You know, I wonder what they're really on right now. Which I believe that the Lions are going to take a turn for the better this coming season. But removing and losing out on some of your defense, or maybe that's basically a conversation where they plan to pick a DB in this upcoming draft. Maybe, maybe not. Additionally, it's a lot of teams that's fishing for that third overall pick from the Arizona Cardinals. We know they just got a new GM in, a new coach. So I wonder what is going to happen. What are they going? Yeah, that's why I'm saying, Anthony, that they're probably going after a younger talent and eventually cheaper, like you said. They did get I think a 5th round pick for Aduka. But like I was saying, the Cardinals are being contacted in reference to their 3rd pick. So we'll see how that goes on. Devin White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has stated that he wants to trade from the Bucs. Is not going as what he would have thought it would. Looking to get out of Dodge quick, fast, in a hurry. Interestingly enough, just reported Barkley not signing the tag. He may not. So Saquon may not play, and so the running back isn't the premium anymore. That's just what it is, and we see it, which is interesting when it comes down to the running back, Bijan Robinson. Like, we all have conversations about this dude is a top tier talent, but we haven't seen a top tier talent like him or anyone pursuing the quarterback in like the high since Najee Harris or Saquon Barkley. So now Bijan Robinson is not a premium to someone that want or need in the NFL. So of course that's going to be. He's definitely, I think, is still. Well, no, I was about to say I think he's going to be a number 1 seed, a number 1 first round draft pick at the end of this month. But that might not be the case either. So I don't know. It's out there. Barkley, same thing. Why no one's really trying to side? It's like where you're at is where you stay for the most part, unless you're something like a Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, or anything like that. I could assure there would be some pressures if it came down to a team needed a running back. Like, let's say, although New Orleans didn't do bad in picking up to getting a running back to potentially replace Alvin Kamara if he's going to be out. But I could assure if there was some teams that was out here. No, I won't even say that. It is what it is. And that's where it has come is basically players are running backs is not what it is at this point. I don't even know would it ever be. It's more of a passing league now. So of course with it being a passing league, you need to have more defenders. And that's for the most part where that seems to be going, where more defenders or DBs and stuff are being high quality, top tier DBs are needed to be able to contend with the receivers as it's more of a passing league now. So upfront pressure, ideally, whatever goes into that, linemen to protect the quarterback, DBs, defensive ends, and linemen to put pressure on said quarterback, and then last but not least, the corners and the receivers to jostle for position to assist the quarterback in the building of points and yards. So the running back isn't necessarily a commodity. Is a least of the commodities now. Also, DeAndre Hopkins skipped voluntary OTAs and workouts. Skipped workouts. I don't think that's really a problem. As voluntarily, it's not like he's coming off last year where he hasn't played at all. He did play late in the season after a 7 or 6 game suspension. Maybe he's not ready to get back into it with the players, especially after everything that transpired. The team not being as good as what they thought it could have been. Different moves being made, the firing of the coach. Maybe he's just not ready yet, which is understandable and is voluntary. Like, that's the key word: volunteer, voluntold. So maybe not that much of a issue. So, like I said, I gotta get in to go take care of some business from the job that pays. Of course, want to leave y'all lastly with the fact of it's getting closer. Today is Today is the 12th of April. We're basically 2 weeks from correction, 2 weeks in a day from being in everyone ascending on to San Antonio, Texas, Fort Sam, Joint Base San Antonio, to witness the granddaddy of them all, as it called when it comes to tournaments, the National Military Basketball Tournament. Additionally, also within the military, you got other stuff going on. You got worlds for the military softball, but right now, at this particular time and moment, we're talking about the military basketball community, National Military Basketball Tournament, getting ready to go down. 2 weeks. You get a chance to play teams that didn't get selected. Their top tier players get an opportunity to go and compete on other teams. In case you didn't know, of course, the teams that's going to be out there, that's going to be showing up in San Antonio and playing, the schedules going on, the time frames, the dates, all ready to go. Eastern region, Western region, South region, Midwest region, all reared up, high, ho, locked, and load. The engines are revving. We're ready to go. This is what we're looking forward to seeing at the end of this month. And then, of course, if military basketball isn't your cup of tea, then of course you got the draft. But you can do both. You can set up. As you know, Hero Sports is going to be live streaming some of the games. Myself and Bishop should be down there, tapping in a little bit, doing some here and there. So it should be plenty of opportunities to catch some of the games, to see your favorite military installation go and represent, for an opportunity to take care, knock off the last year's champion in Phantom Warriors out of Fort Hood, soon to be renamed to Fort Cavazos. So, hey, tap in. Be sure to check in. I'm about to get up out of here. I will be back, of course, tomorrow. I might have a couple of special guests. My beloved frat Psi Row 5 Military Fraternity Incorporated is going to be in Denver this weekend as they celebrate bring in some more gentlemen to our organization, and as well as assist our sister hood, the Psi Rho Chi Military Fraternity Incorporated, Sorority Incorporated, getting them squared away and getting them all suited and booted. And then our Founders Day is going on this weekend. Sneaker ball going on Saturday. All that going down. They're going to be in Denver. If you're in Denver, pull up, holla at them. They'll be on. But in all that, I look to get to have some of them on Thursday and Friday. So we're gonna see if they're gonna show up. Of course, if they are, it'll be I'll put it up. You'll be able to take a look at it. And like you said, just come catch a vibe with us. Of course, been talking to some people. Got a couple of things coming down the chute. A couple of a little different from we do things, but it's all in love and everything. But I greatly appreciate y'all tapping in with me. Y'all know where to find me every morning, 9 to 1100, give or take. But we're going to get something. We're going to talk about it. Be sure to tap in tomorrow. Like I said, Chicago, Toronto, Oklahoma, and New Orleans. Plenty to talk about. Look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Let's get it in. It's your boy Trey. I'm out of here. Enjoy y'all day. Peace.